The sun had just started to set over the quiet stretch of Route 67, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. It was the kind of evening when most travelers were eager to find a warm meal and a place to rest. The small roadside diner called Maple Junction sat comfortably along the highway, known for its home-style cooking, friendly waitress, and the best apple pie for miles. But that peaceful reputation was about to be tested in a way no one expected. A teenage girl named Lily Brooks, around 17, walked through the diner's glass door with a soft chime of the bell. She wasn't dressed to attract attention. Just a simple, faded denim jacket, old jeans, and a white shirt. Her hair was tied back in a ponytail, and she carried a small backpack slung over one shoulder. Lily gave a polite smile to the older waitress, Martha, and quietly took a seat at the counter. She wasn't there to socialize. She was waiting for someone. Her eyes occasionally flicked toward the door, as if expecting to see a familiar face enter any moment. At the far corner of the diner, 3 local troublemakers occupied a booth. They weren't bikers or professionals, just small-town bullies with loud voices and bigger egos than they could handle. Tom, the self-appointed leader, had a greasy cap pulled low over his brow. Rick, tall and lanky with a mocking grin, enjoyed picking on anyone who seemed timid. And Duke, the stockiest of the 3, simply followed the others, laughing at whatever made them feel powerful. They weren't real criminals, but their behavior often ruined the evening for anyone unlucky enough to share a room with them. The moment Lily walked in, Tom nudged Rick and smirked. "Fresh meat," he muttered. Rick turned his head, eyeing Lily openly. "Alone, too," he added, as if that made her a target. The 3 whisper-laughed like school bullies planning a prank, unaware of how their night would end. Lily ordered a grilled cheese sandwich and a soda. She kept her voice low, barely above a whisper. Martha, the waitress, knew the look in Lily's eyes. She had seen many young people like her passing through, quiet, tired, and somehow burdened with more than they were willing to share. Martha placed a comforting hand on Lily's arm and said gently, "I'll bring your food in just a moment." A sweetheart. Lily appreciated it with a small nod. But peace never lasted long, wherever Tom and his cronies were present. They waited until Martha stepped into the kitchen before getting up and crowding around Lily. "Well, hey there, sweetheart," Tom said, leaning against the counter beside her. Lily stiffened, staring straight ahead. She didn't respond. She didn't dare make eye contact. Rick leaned on the other side of her, blocking her view. "What's a pretty thing like you doing here alone? Ran away from home or something?" he teased. Lily took a deep breath and replied politely, "I'm waiting for someone. Please leave me alone." Her calmness only fueled their irritation. Duke chuckled heavily and said, "Look, boys, she's shy. Maybe we got to help her loosen up." His words earned laughter from the other 2, but the rest of the diner began to grow uncomfortable. A few families kept their eyes on their plates, silently wishing not to get involved. A truck driver sipped his coffee, pretending he didn't see anything. Lily tried to stand up to move away, but Tom grabbed her wrist, firm enough to stop her. "Hold on now. We're just being friendly," he said in a mocking tone. Lily pulled her arm back, her voice trembling but firm. "Let go of me." Martha returned at that moment, holding Lily's sandwich, her expression turning sharp as she saw the scene. "Tom, leave the girl be. She's done nothing to you," she snapped. Martha wasn't afraid to speak up, but Tom shrugged her off. "Relax, Martha. We're just talking." But things changed quickly. Rick, clearly annoyed by Lily's lack of reaction, grabbed the edge of her denim jacket. "Come on, show us a smile." In one rude jerk, he pulled the jacket back off her shoulders. His force caught Lily off balance, and the sudden roughness caused the front of her shirt to rip open at the top seam. The sound was loud enough for everyone to hear, followed by Lily gasping as she clutched the torn fabric to her chest. The diner fell into absolute silence. Martha's face turned pale with shock. A mother across the room pulled her young son closer. Even Duke's smile faded for a moment. It was clear the line had been crossed. Rick chuckled, but the laugh was uneasy. Tom elbowed him, whispering, "Too far, man." But the damage was done, and Lily's humiliation hung in the air like smoke. Lily's eyes welled with tears, not just of embarrassment, but anger. She slowly stood up, still holding her ripped shirt to cover herself. She looked Rick in the eye for the first time. Her voice was quiet, almost frighteningly calm. "You shouldn't have done that," Rick scoffed, pretending not to be affected. "Oh yeah? And who's gonna stop us, you?" he mocked. Lily didn't argue. She didn't shout. Instead, she reached for her phone, walked to the corner and dialed a number with shaking fingers. Her voice softened as she spoke into the phone. "It's me. I need you to come. Please." She ended the call with a shaky exhale. Tom leaned back in the booth, laughing again as if the situation was still in his control. "Calling Daddy?" he taunted. Lily didn't respond. She sat down again silent, her expression unreadable now. But the look in her eyes was no longer fearful. It was like a silent warning that nobody in that diner understood yet. Outside, the daylight continued to fade. The road beyond the diner grew darker, quieter, almost like the world was holding its breath. Martha placed her own cardigan gently over Lily's shoulders, whispering, "It's gonna be okay, honey." But Lily's gaze remained fixed on the diner door, as though she knew exactly what was coming. The tension in the air grew thick enough for everyone to feel, because the men who tore her shirt thought they were the biggest predators in that diner. What they didn't know, what nobody there yet realized, was that Lily wasn't just some timid girl traveling alone. She was the younger sister of one of the most feared biker brothers in the Hells Angels chapter, and her single phone call had just unleashed a storm none of them were prepared for. The road outside remained eerily calm, but the night was far from over. And for Tom, Rick, and Duke, their worst mistake had already been made. The atmosphere inside Maple Junction Diner felt heavier with every passing second. Lily sat quietly with Martha's cardigan wrapped around her shoulders, staring at the door. The three men who had harassed her earlier tried to act normal, but uneasiness crept into their expressions. Rick fidgeted with a napkin. Tom tapped his foot anxiously, and Duke kept glancing outside as though expecting someone to burst in. The truck driver, who had been silently observing, leaned forward and muttered, "Boys, you might want to leave before whoever she called gets here." Tom forced a laugh to cover the growing fear in his stomach. "What, you think she knows someone dangerous?" He scoffed, but his voice cracked slightly. The bell above the diner door chimed again, not for Lily's rescue yet, but as an elderly couple walked in for dinner. The momentary distraction eased the tension, but only for a moment. Outside, the sky had fully darkened. A light wind swept dusty leaves across the parking lot. It was the kind of quiet night that carried sound far and clear, and then they heard it, a low rumble. Distant at first, faint, like thunder rolling across the horizon. The customers inside paused mid-bite. Martha's hand froze around a coffee pot. The rumble grew louder, deeper, more defined. This wasn't thunder. It was motorcycles, not one, not two, several. Engines echoed down Route 67 like an approaching storm. The sound was unmistakable, powerful, heavy, and intimidating. The truck driver swallowed hard. "Oh no! That ain't just someone coming. That's a pack." Tom's face lost its color. Rick shifted nervously. Duke muttered, "No way she knows bikers." But the universe answered him with the roar of engines pulling into the parking lot, one after another. Headlights beamed through the diner windows like hunting spotlights. The engines cut off simultaneously, leaving behind a chilling silence. Martha whispered a short prayer. A tall, broad-shouldered man was the first to enter. He wore a leather jacket marked with the unmistakable emblem, Hell's Angels. His presence alone commanded the room. Behind him, 5 more bikers entered, each one rough, intimidating, and deadly calm. The leader removed his helmet, revealing cold, focused eyes, a short beard, and a scar that ran across his eyebrow. His name was Stone Brooks, Lily's older brother, a man known for his unwavering loyalty, protective nature, and a reputation no one wanted to challenge. When Stone's eyes found Lily sitting with a ripped shirt hidden under the cardigan, his entire body stiffened. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't need to. Lily stood, met his eyes, and whispered, "They did it." She didn't cry. She didn't break down. She just pointed toward the booth where Tom, Rick, and Duke sat frozen. The three men looked trapped, like animals cornered by wolves. Stone walked toward them with silent, deadly steps. The other bikers spread out across the diner, standing guard, ensuring nobody would interfere. Stone stopped at their table and placed both hands on the edge of the booth. He tilted his head slightly and asked, "Which one of you laid a hand on my sister?" No one spoke. Tom attempted a nervous laugh. "Hey man, we didn't know she was your—" He never finished. Stone's fist slammed down on the table so hard that cups bounced and one cracked. His voice was low, controlled, more frightening than if he had shouted. "I didn't ask what you knew. I asked who touched her." Rick slowly raised a shaky finger at Tom, panicking to save himself. It was him. He started it." Tom's jaw dropped in betrayal. "You liar. It was you." "You ripped her shirt, not me." Stone's jaw clenched. He grabbed Tom by the collar and yanked him up from the booth with ease, as if he weighed nothing. Tom's legs trembled beneath him. One of the bikers, a tall man named Bear, held Rick down when he attempted to stand. Duke didn't even move. Fear had him glued to the seat. Stone spoke softly, almost whispering in Tom's face. "You put your hands on a woman, my sister. Do you know what kind of mistake that is?" Tom stuttered, trying to breathe. "I'm sorry, man. It was just a joke. We didn't mean—" Stone cut him off, tightening his grip. "A joke? Did she laugh?" The entire diner remained still. Lily watched, her face calm but unreadable, as justice unfolded. Stone didn't beat them senseless as many expected. Instead, he released Tom, letting him fall back into the booth like a rag doll. Stone turned to Lily. "What do you want done?" he asked. The room gasped. He wasn't deciding. He was letting Lily choose. Lily looked at the three men, each one trembling, heads bowed, too ashamed to meet her eyes. She took a slow breath. Her voice was steady. "I don't want them beaten. I want them to learn respect." Stone nodded once. Then he gave the men a cold command. "Stand up." They obeyed instantly. "Look at her," Stone ordered. They lifted their eyes to Lily, guilt written across their faces. "You will apologize to her." "Properly," Stone said, folding his arms. Tom swallowed and spoke first. "Lily, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have touched you or disrespected you." "It was wrong," Rick followed, voice cracking. "I'm sorry too. I went too far." Duke nodded repeatedly. "We're sorry, truly." Lily stood firm, her chin slightly raised. "You don't talk to or treat women like that. Not me, not anyone." Her words, though soft, struck harder than any punch Stone could have thrown. Stone wasn't done. "You're going to pay for her meal, and for the clothes you damaged. And then you're going to leave this diner and remember this night every time you think about harassing a woman. Understood?" All three nodded vigorously. The bikers escorted the men to the cashier, where Tom shakily handed over enough cash to cover Lily's meal, Martha's cardigan cleaning, and a brand new top from the store across the road. They left the diner with their dignity shattered, but their bodies intact, something that wouldn't have happened if Lily had chosen a different fate for them. Before leaving, Stone placed his leather jacket around Lily's shoulders and kissed the top of her head. "You call me sooner next time," he murmured. Lily hugged him, her voice soft. "I handled it. I just needed backup." Martha approached and thanked Stone quietly. "You protected her without violence. That means more than you know." Stone nodded. "Real strength doesn't always need fists," he replied. As the Hells Angels walked out, the customers stood and watched with respect rather than fear. The engines ignited again, roaring like thunder reclaiming the night. The bikers rode off into the darkness, Lily sitting behind her brother on his motorcycle, safe and unafraid. Maple Junction Diner would never be the same. Every person who witnessed that night carried the memory with them, telling the story for years to come. And the three men who ripped a girl's shirt learned a lesson they would never forget, not because they were beaten, but because they were humbled by the very people they thought were the villains. No one disrespected a woman in that diner ever again.